Stugotz here. You may not be able to run, throw, or catch like a professional athlete, but now that it's spring, you can get your lawn looking like a professional sports field, assuming your lawn gear will start. That's it. Stop by Advanced Auto Parts. They'll test your lawn and garden battery for free. If it needs to be replaced, they have Autocraft lawn and garden batteries starting at just $22.99. Plus, enter the code DAN20 when you buy online to save 20%. Think ahead. Think advance at Advanced Auto Parts. The Dan Le Batard with Stugotz Show podcast is presented by Capital One. This is Banking Reimagined.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Stugotz can't say fraudulently. He can only be it. He is in the middle of a pandemic. And before we get to a couple of items from yesterday that require cleaning up, he isn't, under the best of circumstances, a fountain of perspective, but today he is complaining, and loudly, about skim milk. As America descends into a hellhole, Stugotz won't shut up about his wife buying skim milk. He's really at the height of suffering here.
Dan, it is so deflating because I really only have milk when I have cereal. And the cereal is just as important, the milk is just as important an ingredient to a good bowl of cereal as the cereal itself. The milk needs to be cold, really cold, and it also needs to be whole milk. Okay? So when I open up my fridge and there's fat-free milk and I want a nice bowl of Frosted Flakes after my jog this morning, okay? I want some whole milk, not skim milk, not fat-free milk. And my wife is sitting around here, and she's yelling at me saying, hey, it's healthier. It will help you lose weight. It will help you keep some weight off. Plus, it's healthier for our daughters. I said, do me a favor. When you go grocery shopping, shop for them and then shop for me. I want whole milk. It ruins a good bowl of cereal. Does it not?
Yeah. All right. Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Does skim milk ruin a good bowl of cereal?
And I would say, now that I'm thinking about it, I know Frosted Flakes are good. I know Lucky Charms are good. They can be ruined by bad milk. So I would say that whole milk itself, is the more important of the two ingredients in a good bowl of cereal. How about that?
I just saw Roy eat a breakfast Dorito. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Should people be eating Doritos for breakfast? I'm sorry. He just corrected me. It wasn't a breakfast Dorito. It was one of those peanut butter cracker cookies that are disgusting from a vending machine. Roy, were you trying to make that better by holding up the peanut butter cracker? Because you didn't make it any better. You tried to make a correction on Doritos, and instead you put up one of those disgusting peanut butter cracker situations. What are you doing? Can you even speak into the mic with peanut butter in your mouth?
Yes, I can, Dan.
Okay.
That's all you're going to get from me, though.
All right. Thank you for all of your efforts. We appreciate it. I'm glad Mike just threw the headset from his head into the speaker on my computer so you could give us that quality content.
It's a real dance Mike has to do just to get those guys on the air.
It's so bad. And so I want to correct, now that they're on the air, because this feud broke out yesterday, I want to correct a couple of things from yesterday. I think, one, we need to revoke or think about some sort of revolt or anarchy when it comes to the commish, Sarah Spain, and what it is that she picked as the best nominee on these fat action movie titles, because I think she chose horribly in choosing Pie Hard. I mean, we had so many good ones. We had Parmageddon. We had Jurassic Pork. We had The Fugitive. And what did she do? She went Pie Hard. And I feel we need to correct that. Before we correct that, a riot has broken out among everybody on the show because they think Knives Out is a lot better than I thought Knives Out was. Now, Daniel Craig, his southern accent was distracting. He shouldn't have even been in the movie, never mind the star of the movie, never mind as a southern detective in the movie. But the idea that that movie got like a 97 rating on Rotten Tomatoes, Stugotz, you were saying if I don't like a movie, you're sure to like a movie.
Well, that's the rule we all have on the show. If you don't like it, we rush to see it. I mean, that's how we determine good movies.
So put it on the poll, Guillermo, please, at Le Batard Show. If Dan doesn't like a movie, is Stugotz sure to like that movie? But, Tony, why do you think I'm wrong on this? You cannot argue that Daniel Craig was good in that role. You won't argue it.
I'm not going to argue that he was good in the role. I think that the more important thing was the movie surrounding Daniel Craig was actually really good. I mean, his accent was distracting. He was trying to be somebody that he cannot play in any sort of role, but I thought it was a really good movie other than his accent.
I thought that cast was so good, and I was hoping when I saw that cast and 97 on Rotten Tomatoes, I thought, okay, this is going to be an extraordinary movie. And I understand that part of the thing that is diluting it for me is that I went into it with great expectations because of the cast and because of that rating. So I'm not saying it was a horrible movie. I'm just saying that my expectations for it were through the roof, and it was just sort of just empty calories, silly, empty movie. But another one I saw, have you guys seen Uncut Gems yet? Because Adam Sandler, he was winning, he was an Oscar snub. That's a funny sentence to say, all right? Adam Sandler was an Oscar snub because he absolutely did a good job in the movie in terms of putting on you a film of stress and pressure, because the whole movie you're watching a degenerate gambler sort of fall apart, and as he's doing this you can feel the stress of it. And he won Best Actor in one of these fringe award shows that wasn't the Oscars, and he gave a great acceptance speech that you guys should look up on the internet because we don't have any ability to clear the sound. But have you guys, who has seen Uncut Gems? Any of you? Nope, it's just Tony. Tony has seen Uncut Gems. Which one was better, Tony? Uncut Gems or Knives Out?
It was definitely Uncut Gems, and I think the point that you're making, where they make you feel the tension when he gets into the room. No spoiler alerts, but when he gets into the room, somebody's talking to him. He's getting the doctor receiving the diagnosis from his thing in the beginning of the movie. You're just wrapped up in all of his emotions, and on top of that, somebody's trying to get him, and it's crazy. I thought Uncut Gems was incredible.
I've got a list in front of me here from USA Today. I've got a list in front of me of the 20 best basketball movies of all time. Yeah, you've been waiting for this show all your life. Now, I don't believe that over the last 50 years we actually make good basketball movies. There are very few of them that you're going to find. But Stugotz, your favorite basketball movie is what?
Hoop Dreams.
All right, so Hoop Dreams was a good one, and on this list, it's number 2. It's number 2 on this list. If you were to list has America made 5 good basketball movies? Yes or no? Put that on the poll, Guillermo, at Le Batard Show. Has America made 5 good basketball movies? Because as soon as I saw Ben Affleck, the commercials, now this is not fair. It may indeed be a good movie. I'm reading reviews that say that Ben Affleck did a great job of acting, that it's a bit of a personal story because of his own struggles with addiction, and that the character goes deep and it's not just a basketball movie. But Ben Affleck, we would agree that as an actor, Ben Affleck is a kind of a stiff, right? He's a better director than he is as an actor. And so people are saying that he did this role well, but when I saw the commercials for this role, and it got a very limited release because of the coronavirus, it had a budget of $40 million and ended up making about $13 million, and now it's going straight to video faster because of everything that's happening with the coronavirus. But that didn't look like a movie that I would see under any circumstances, that there would be any, I like sports. I have liked many of Ben Affleck's movies. I watched that and I was like, I will absolutely not watch that movie. Will you watch that movie, Mike?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, because it has good reviews. And, I do like sports movies. I think they're a bit formulaic, but anytime Ben Affleck actually has praise, because his career goes through the same sort of waves, critically acclaimed, gets an Oscar, then starts taking bad roles, does the big budget superhero role that gets critically panned, and then he starts doing the art projects again and starts having to do critically acclaimed films again.
Let me ask cycle, Mike.
On your it's a Ben Affleck cycle. He never learns from his past mistakes. Let me ask you a question about this list. Is Forget Paris on there?
Let me see if Forget Paris. It is on here. Forget Paris is on here. It's very low on the list. Chris Cody has something that he wishes to say about what? About Ben Affleck or about Way Back the movie?
I mean, you're saying that there aren't any good basketball movies out there. I can name 3 right off the top of my head. Space Jam, semi-pro, Joanna Man.
Boom.
Like, what are you talking about?
Boom.
Mike. Like,
And you
I'll
left out
Blue
Blue Chips.
Blue Chips is number 20 on
Yes!
this list. Joanna Man. All right, look at what I'm dealing with around here. If Joanna Man is where it is you're going with good basketball movies, then I probably don't have much of a chance on this discussion. All right, Stugotz, good job. Excellent work by you. I don't know
What do you want me to do?
What was on the floor? What was on the floor? How do you not know we're coming back?
It's called a Comrex unit, Dan, and it's on my floor because that's the only spot I could put it, and occasionally it disconnects, and I had to reconnect it. That's what happens when you're doing shows from home. I don't have Mike Ryan here. I have nobody here.
No,
one
but
here.
we're right in front of you, and if I showed people over the course of the week the number of times that Mike Ryan and I look like people trying to land an airplane, trying to get your attention while you're doing crunches or you're bent over showing us your butt crack, and we can't get your attention. Both of us waving our arms wildly trying to get your attention. I have lost 7 pounds doing that exercise this week.
Tone, $5. You deserve a better way to stream the sports you love. ESPN Plus gives you exclusive access to thousands of live events from the UFC, MLS, MLB, NHL, and more. Plus, you'll get replays, the entire 30 for 30 library, and ESPN Plus original shows from superstars like Peyton Manning, Alex Morgan, Kevin Durant, and LeBron James. Stream sports the way they were meant to be, always in HD, on the big screen, or on the go. Sign up now at ESPNplus.com.
So we've got some additional Tom Brady reporting that people might find interesting. I'll get to that in a second, but we were talking about this USA Today list of the best basketball movies that have been made. I don't believe that America has made 5 good basketball movies in my lifetime. Congratulations, by the way, Stugotz. Today is the 50-year anniversary of the Knicks winning something. The 50-5-0. That is half a century.
Thanks.
The New York Knicks haven't won anything in half a century. But so this list of basketball movies is 20 long. And Billy, what do you have there?
Didn't the Knicks win in 1973?
Did they win in 1973?
They won 72-73.
So it's not 50 years? Okay.
I think they won in 70. Maybe it's the anniversary of the first time they won.
That is a good correction, Billy. So congratulations. It is close to the anniversary of 47 years when the Knicks won the championships. There it is, Stugotz. Billy just gave you 3 years of joy back.
Thanks.
When were you born, Stugotz?
1972.
Okay, so there you go.
I mean, listen, I was born right after all the winning was done. And the Jets got a Super Bowl in '69, the Mets got a World Series, and then I was born.
Do you think there's any correlation between your birth and then all the New York franchises that you root for falling under disease? So here's what we've got. We've got Blue Chips is number 20. Do you think that should be much higher, right? Shaquille O'Neal, Nick Nolte, Anthony Hardaway.
It should be. It's number 3 on my list, Dan.
Well, do you have your list in front of you? Do you have your list of top, what do you have? How long is the list? Because anytime there's list radio, you leap into action. Nothing gets your attention more than list radio. What do you have? What does your list look like?
All right, well, I have number 5. At number 5, a tad bit overrated, I have Hoosiers at number 5. I have at number 4, I have a movie that I love. I don't know if many people like it. I know the guys like it, but Coach Carter comes in at number 4 for me. Coach C, not Coach K. At number 3, I have Blue Chips. At number 2, I have Hoop Dreams. And then at number 1, it hasn't even been released yet, but it's the 10-part series Michael Jordan documentary. That is number 1.
Yes, and we don't know. It seems like ESPN is teasing us a little bit, saying that it is coming soon instead of coming in June. A lot of people are speculating that perhaps, and I don't have any information for you, that perhaps that 10-part documentary is going to release early as ESPN is pretty starved for content. But number 19 is Cornbread, Earl, and Me, Lawrence Fishburne. Number 18 is Glory Road. Number 17 14 with Billy Crystal as an NBA referee is Forget Paris. Number 16 is an abomination, The Basketball Diaries. Leonardo DiCaprio played basketball so poorly that everyone should be offended by how bad the basketball was in that movie. Number 15 was Above the Rim. Terrible. Number 14, The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh. Doesn't hold up, even though in 1979 it was pretty good. Number 13 is O. Have any of you seen O? I've never even heard of the movie O. Number 12, and this is how bad our basketball movie history is, Uncle Drew at number 12. Number 11 is the aforementioned Coach Carter. Number 10 is Space Jam. Number 9 is Finding Forrester. Yes, Chris, 10 at 10. Space Jam is number 10. I'd put Space Jam in the top 5. I'm with you on that. Number 9, as I said, Finding Forrester. Number 8, and this again is how bad our basketball history is, The Way Back, starting Ben Affleck, is already number 8. Number 7 is Teen Wolf. I'll give you Teen Wolf, even though I felt that was more of a werewolf movie. You know what? Put it on the poll at Lebitard Show. Was Teen Wolf a werewolf movie or was it a basketball movie? Number 6 was Love and Basketball. Number 5 already, Uncut Gems. Was that a basketball movie? I don't feel like that was a basketball movie.
I mean, Kevin Garnett was in it. The Big Ticket.
Thank you, Stugotz. Number 4, White Men Can't Jump. I'd put that in the top 5. Number 3, Hoosiers. I thought Hoosiers was really overrated. Number 2, Hoop Dreams. And are you ready for number 1? Are you ready? What's missing here? Can you think? Can any of you imagine what's missing here? Oh, everybody wants to get in here. Billy and Tony and Chris all want to get here at the same time. So let me count down. You all say it at the same time when I count down from 3 to 1. 3, 2, 1.
He got it 2, street ball.
Semi-pro.
There, bud.
It's He Got Game. One of you got that right.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests on the Dan Lebitard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Pennzoil synthetic motor oils are made from natural gas. It gives you unbeatable engine protection. The proof is in the Pennzoil, based on Sequence 4A wear test using SAE 5W-30. Here's your SportsCenter update. Among those in sports who have recently been tested positive for COVID-19 or Celtics guard, Marcus Smart, 2 identified players from the Lakers and 3 individuals from the 76ers organization, bringing the NBA's count up to 14. Saints head coach Sean Payton has also tested positive. NFL news, the Rams have cut Todd Gurley and Clay Matthews. Todd Gurley, just 25 years old. Feels like he's been around forever. Gurley then signed with the Falcons on a 1-year deal. The Broncos have cut Joe Flacco. The Cowboys and safety HaHa Clinton Dix have agreed to a 1-year deal worth $4 million with $2.5 million guaranteed. And the Lions have traded corner Darius Slay to the Eagles for 3rd and 5th round picks. And finally, Liam Gallagher wants to play a one-off Oasis reunion gig for charity once the coronavirus blows over. SportsCenter brought to you by Bolt 24. An athlete is an athlete 24/7. And part of always being prepared is always being hydrated. Bolt 24 has antioxidant vitamins A and C, electrolytes from watermelon and sea salt, no artificial sweeteners or flavors. Bolt 24 is all-day hydration for all-day athletes. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day. Excuse me. It is, I just got word that Dan is not there, which means the entire show is not there because Mike was controlling the other guys. Chris is waving to me. Thank you, Chris. That is very helpful. All the guys are waving. Billy, Tony, Roy, everywhere. Roy's not waving, but Chris is. And Chris, it is helpful to see your smiling face. But I do love a segment removed from yelling at me for getting disconnected. Dan's entire internet went down. I mean, seriously. I got a $50 fine if we want to go back a segment here because Dan just got mad at me. But luckily, Amin Elhassan is called in on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Amin, what's going on? Amin has some issues, I think, with our basketball movie list. What's going on, Amin?
Yeah, first of all, thanks a lot, Stu. I miss you, man. I miss looking at you. How about that?
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do, man. I got the show on my TV, and it's got the graphic, and the pictures just don't do you guys justice. Right. None of them look like you. Well, Dan looks like Dan, but all the rest,
Now, you want to know what's funny? I did a full breakdown. I mean, it's funny because I'm starting to lose my mind, okay? I mean, I probably did a long, long time ago, but I have stared at that logo and that graphic so much that in my notes, I have taken notes on each individual in that graphic, what they do, how well. I've committed it to memory, as a matter of fact. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, Billy's looks like it's like he's Asian. He doesn't even look. It doesn't look anything like Billy.
Well, Billy just looks side to side. He looks at Allison, then and then he's looking. It looks like he's trying to get someone in trouble, or he's going to be happy when someone gets in trouble. Am I wrong?
He does. He does have that bleep-eating grin on his face,
right.
Kind of like when he's about to instigate. You know how he instigates in the studio. That's
Yes.
what he looks like. He looks like he's about to do that right now. Roy is smiling like it. That's cocktail hour, Roy. That's not regular Roy right there. That grin doesn't come out.
That's not Roy at work, Roy. Yeah, you're right.
Dan somehow looks slim. I don't know if this is because it's old or because the artist just felt bad for him.
Here are my notes on Dan. Dan's head does an odd shimmy before it moves its eyes. Every time before it moves his eyes, his head does an odd shimmy. He only looks straight ahead, and then he looks up at Billy, which has to be straining on his neck, considering the positioning of Billy. But they did a great job on Dan's right eyebrow.
You're writing this down. What a waste of everybody's time. The internet is back. I mean, why are you calling? What is your objection to the
Writing
basketball
it down.
list?
Everyone's looking at the logo. It's all you can see on our TV.
My objection is that you guys had Teen Wolf. Well, I know it wasn't your list, but you mentioned Teen Wolf as a top 10 movie, and you didn't even bring up that was the subject of the very first Black in My Day, before Black in My Day even had a name. It was that Teen Wolf is an extremely racist movie. It's an allegory for white people fetishizing what it must be to be black. Because you think about it, he's Scott Howard. He didn't have a lot of luck with the ladies, all that stuff. He's terrible at basketball. Then he becomes a quote-unquote werewolf. All of a sudden, he's amazing at basketball. And by the way, amazing in a very particular showboaty hot dog. That's not the way we win games. That's more of an I versus we kind of style of play. He's a hit with the ladies, although that angers some members of the community. I can't believe you're going out with him, quotes in there. He's a great dancer. He's giving high fives to people. Everything about his life is like, oh, this is what white people think black people life must be like. But then at the end, because it is a movie that was made in Hollywood, we have to reiterate, but it's better to be white, though. So that's why he turns back to Scott Howard, and they win the championship by sharing the ball and playing basketball, quote-unquote, the right way.
Guillermo, put it on the poll, please. Is Teen Wolf racist? How do you feel about Hoosiers?
Oh, yeah. Well, Hoosiers is much more well documented. It's racism in there baked in. And Bomani does a much better job than I could ever do. I also think it's a very boring movie. And also the reason why most NBA owners fire coaches, because they see their coaches on the sideline not acting like Gene Hackman, and they think, he's not coaching. He doesn't have a rolled-up piece of paper, and he's not yelling at guys and speaking in cliches. And that's why those guys get fired, because they aren't behaving in the stereotypical way that many NBA owners and many NBA fans have been conditioned to think this is what coaching looks like.
Now that the NBA has said, hey, you guys can't even come and practice at the facility, we were talking to Cody Zeller, and he was saying between each set they were disinfecting all of their weight room stuff, but now that's not even allowed. What percentage of the league is coming back fat here? I mean,
oh, you think they're coming back? Oh, bless your heart, Dan Le Batard. You are an optimist. Dan, I don't know how you do it. Let's just assume. And I'm not even talking about the pandemic. Let's just assume we get it under control within 8 weeks, and we are able to have at least games in an empty arena, at the very least. You asking a bunch of guys who haven't been able to work out at all because they can't go. It's not like they can go to Lifetime or 24-hour Fitness and get their work in. Those places are all closed. So it's not even like coming in fat. It's the risk of injury after that much inactivity. And I know a lot of people like to think, oh, these guys have basketball courts and full weight rooms in their house. But a lot of these players live in apartments and condos that aren't far from the practice facility, especially if you're a younger guy. So there's not a whole lot of opportunity to stay in shape, get basketball shape, game shape when you're at home and you can't work out anywhere. And so even if we come back in 8 weeks, we're going to need like a full training camp for people just to get back in shape. but we probably won't have enough time for that. So to me, that hearing the practice facilities closing down was the nail in the coffin in my head, that I don't think this is going to happen. I don't think we're going to have a rest of the season.
Amin, does Adam Silver basically have like all the tests right now? I don't understand, and I understand that people with power and wealth and resources are going to take care of their own employees, and that's just the fact of the matter here in the United States. But I am a little confused as to how they're getting all these tests for players without symptoms.
Well, I think there's a couple of things. There is a very, I think, rational explanation that NBA players have a much higher opportunity to spread this thing than most regular people, because they travel a lot and because people generally want to be near them, hug them, high-five them, get an autograph, take a picture. All of these things make them in much closer contact with a lot more people than most other regular citizens. But then on top of that, because these guys are in great physical shape, they have probably a higher chance of being silent carriers, asymptomatic, walking around sharing this thing. So once we know that someone has been infected, there is, I think, a reasonable desire for the other people who have come in contact with them, whether it was playing a game against them or being with them in the locker room or what have you, to find out whether they have been infected or not. But the other part of this is, Mike, they're going to, most of these people are going through private means. And yes, imagine that. And in a time like this, the almighty dollar does speak, and people are able and capable of procuring these, especially when you consider you can purchase, or some of these entities have purchased these tests from overseas, right? There's a shortage here in the United States. There is not a shortage worldwide of these testing kits. Everywhere else, they're pretty good at testing as far as in the industrialized world. There just is a shortage here in the United States. And so that's the thing that people have to keep in mind. It's not like they're going down to your local hospital and grabbing the kits that you would have used to be tested there. They're getting them from alternate means.
Thank you for being on with us. We appreciate it, buddy. Take care.
No problem, guys. Take it easy.
If you missed any of our interviews, check them out on demand in the Dan Le Batard Show podcast, brought to you by Capital One. Why settle for average? With Capital One, you can open a savings account with a rate 5 times the national average. Welcome to Banking Reimagined. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Capital One, N.A., member FDIC. All guests on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Stan Van Gundy will be there in about 15 minutes.
If you want a little more Amin Elhassan in your life, 60 seconds at a time, check out his 60-second sports splash on the gram at Darth Amin. As Stugotz just said, Stan Van Gundy going to join us in about 15 minutes. I do want to go to Chris Cody here so that we can get some more of these hashtag Dan Action movie suggestions, because if you've been with us all week, the one thread that's been in the show beyond the coronavirus is that there is a Bollywood star, an action star, who looks suspiciously like me. There is a movie poster. He is holding a gun, and it's laugh out loud funny how much this human being looks like me. And so we've been asking you to name the action movie. I need the group's help here, because I really do think we need to overthrow Sarah Spain's suggestion. We've got to have, by the end of the week, what has been the best nominee. And I don't think any of us would say Pie Hard is in the top 10 of the nominees. What do you think, Stugotz?
Well, I think we all agree, but we're all afraid to challenge Sarah because it usually results in bad things for us. I mean, that's the problem.
That's what generally happens. But Pie Hard seems like an impossibly bad choice by her. Anyways, Chris, we've got some new ones here. What do you have there?
Oh, my God. We have so many good ones. I like Beauty and the Obese. We have Gone with the Winded. We have 10 Things I Love About Food. Dan ate Gilbert Grape. We have,
That's the one I want.
We have Gone in 60-second helpings. We have The Old and the Breathless. Oh, man. We got Deja Chu. Straight Out of Willpower. Bacon Air. There's so many good ones, man. I could keep going for days. You want me to keep going?
Straight out of Willpower? Like what is that? Is that Straight Out of Compton? What is the movie that they're referencing there?
Straight Out of Willpower.
Straight Out of Willpower. Okay, very good.
What movie is it? I'm with you.
No, he's saying it's Straight Out of Compton.
It's terrible, then.
It's a terrible suggestion.
How about this? Guardians of the Gallons of Ice Cream.
Bit of a stretch.
I don't think that is a very good batch that you have there. So help me out. Yes, that's right, Chris. I'm offended by. Oh, you must have better ones than that.
All right. The Devil Eats Pasta. We have True Grits. That one's not good. Oh, maybe it is. The Texas Chain Restaurant Massacre. Yeah, they're getting worse. I got some other good ones. I'll give you some good ones next time.
Okay.
I don't like that last one.
All your help there. We've got to do something. We've got to figure out a way to come up with something better than Pie Hard as a nominee before the end of the show. But here is a story from Bleacher Report, Stugotz, and it is about how we got from Tom Brady being in New England to being in Tampa Bay. Bleacher Report is saying, and I'm just going to read this, how do we get from a trade in 2017 to Brady leaving for Tampa Bay? At the time, there was an incredible amount of buzz. Did you see this story, Stugotz?
No, I did not.
An incredible amount of buzz around the NFL that the 49ers originally asked for Garoppolo, but Belichick instead offered Brady. A Patriots source confirms that's how it went down. And a 49ers source close to John Lynch says the first-time general manager couldn't believe his ears when he heard the counteroffer. Lynch had the chance to trade for the best quarterback ever to play and bring him back to his hometown. It's the ultimate no-brainer, but it didn't happen. Quote, Kraft shut that bleep down fast, says a source close to Belichick. So instead, Lynch gets Garoppolo, but Brady, Belichick, and Kraft haven't been the same since Tom Brady learned that Bill was ready to get rid of him. And that lit a fire under his bleep.
That lit a bleep, huh?
Stugotz, that makes sense, does it not? Does it not make sense that for the last couple of years we've been talking, and Tom Brady does manage as a public figure to keep a lot of his life in private, but all of that makes sense. It makes sense that that's where the relationship came apart, that Kraft chose Brady over Belichick, and then Belichick traded Garoppolo for nothing.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's okay. Well, Brady basically said you're not keeping Garoppolo, and then in a couple of years you're not keeping me, and they let Belichick by himself. Amazing.
Yeah, I mean it's a real power move, and it ends with Brady getting the ending wrong. Stan Van Gundy joins us next.